Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing good and having a wonderful day. In this video, we are going to see that how we can do parameter tampering or price manipulation when the JavaScript code is minified, right? So in the previous video, we saw that how we can do parameter tampering when the application is using a security at the client side, right? So when the hash was sending along with the amount so that they can verify whether the data has been tampered or not. In this video, we are going to see that how we can still do this if they are using minified version of JavaScript now, which will be difficult for us to read because in the previous example the JavaScript code was very easily readable to us, right? Let's try to see that how we can do this. So as always, before going to this video, if you haven't checked out my previous video which I've just talked about, then go ahead and check it out. The link of the video is given in the description, as well as you can click on the link displaying at the right side of the screen. And now with that being said, let us get started. So now let us try to see that how we can do parameter tampering, right? So let me just open the lab in the window and we are going to open burp suite as well, right? Let me just start burp suite as well. So as you can see, burp suite as well as Firefox is now up and running. I'm just going to turn off the capture here and we're good to go. So let's just open our lab and let's try to understand what is different now. Yeah. So as you can see, this is again the cupcake shop, which is having this price as well as quantity, and it is saying total price, right? Now let us try to see that what we can do over here, right? Normally let's try to buy this product and let's try to analyze this application first. Okay, let's click on buy now. You see that this traffic has been intercepted by burp suite, and you see along with the amount the hash value is also going on. Right now we don't know what is this hash value, right? So we need to read the JavaScript code in order for us to understand. So let's say that if I try to manipulate this price value, we should see some kind of error, right? Let's just intercept the response for this, and you can see that it says 433 forbidden and the parameter tampering has been detected. Okay, so as usual, what we're going to do is we are going to read the source code. Okay, so let's click on view source. You see here's the view source, and now this time you see that the JavaScript code is directly not present over here, right? But if you look closely, you'll see that there are two scripts that are being loaded in this application, right? So in real world scenarios as well, you will see that the scripts are being loaded in the form of .js file, right? So they're not giving the script directly in the HTML or embedding in the HTML page, right? So this just creating a separate JavaScript file in which they'll contain all the source code. So you can see here is the main.js file. Let's try to click on this one, and you can see here is the crypto.js main.js as well, right? So this can also confirm that this is using some kind of cryptography. Yeah, let's click on main.js, and you see this time the code is pretty much different compared to what we saw in the previous video. This time it is not that much readable for us, right? You can see that the code is now a bit different. You can see that the variable names are different and there's some .net .then and all those things, right? Which will make the code to look a little bit more tricky for us, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first pretty print this code. Okay, for that I'm going to press Ctrl plus Shift plus C, and then I'm going to go to the debugger section. Okay, when we'll go to the debugger section, you'll see that currently it's not showing anything. So let's try to open the inspect element over here in this main page. Let's go to debugger. You see that there is this main.js, right? And if you see, here is the JavaScript code. Right now this code is looking a bit more complicated than what we saw in the previous video. Yeah, you can see we have a function a1 a2, so we don't know what this function is all about, so we need to figure out the things by our own. Okay, first thing is that we need to identify which of the hashing algorithm or which algorithm is being used in order to hash it, or maybe doing some kind of encryption. You can see directly over here it says crypto.js md5, right? So we can confirm from here itself that this particular application is using md5 to generate hash, right? You see this is the function, and again this is the reason why I told you that you need to have some basic knowledge of JavaScript if you want to really dive into web application penetration testing. You see, from this function itself we can say that this function is accepting a parameter and it is just returning the md5 hash value of the particular parameter, right? So whatever value we're giving, it's just going to return the hash value, the md5 hash value, right? So we have understood that from this function the md5 algorithm is in use. So we have identified the hashing algorithm, right? Now we need to understand that what is the value which is getting hashed, right? Let's try to see what is inside the a2 function. Okay, you see that it is storing something in this variable which is e, right? And it is actually storing something which it is getting a value by the id, right? Let's try to view the source code in the new tab. Okay, and you see over here it is saying that get element by id, and the id name is total price. Let's try to see which element tag has this id. So I'm just going to do control plus f and total price. You see what it is doing is it is trying to fetch the price, right? You see that the total price is the id of the total price is within this paragraph tag, right? And the paragraph is containing this total price. From here we can assume that it could be storing the amount. Yeah, let's try to see what else it is doing, and then it is just giving what is the value, right? So for example, let's say if we are increasing the quantity and doing add to cart, so maybe this is just updating the value, right? This a2 function. Let's go down. You can see it says document.get element by id by button, so this could be the button, right? And when we are clicking on this button, this function will get triggered, and you see in this function what is happening. First of all, it is parsing the values, right? So it is, first you can see it says quantity over here, so it is parsing the value of the quantity. Okay, then what it is doing is it is using this a1 function and it is storing the data in e. So what was the a1 function? The a1 function was to encrypt the data, right? To hash the data, hash the value, right? So you can see over here that it is hashing the value which is this variable t, right? And if we look closely what is t, then you'll see that it is something which is document.get element by id, and it is the quantity, right? So you can see that, and this value is getting multiplied this by this value which is 4, right? So normally you can see that the price is 4, right? For each cupcake the price is 4. So what it is doing is it is fetching the quantity value which the user has added, and then it is multiplying the value by 4. For example, let's say that I have added 3 quantity of cupcake. Then what it's going to do is it's going to fetch the value of this quantity input which is 3, and then it is going to multiply it with the value which is 4, right? So 4 times 3 equals to 12. So now the value is 12, and then it is actually in creating the hash of this value. You can see that it is actually passing this value inside this function, the a1 function. And what the a1 function was doing, a1 function was just creating the hash of the amount. Yeah, so this is what it is doing. And then if you look closely, then it is sending the request, yeah, and then it is doing the rest of the thing. If the response is payment successful, or sorry, if the response is 200 okay, then it means that the payment has been successful. Otherwise it will say that payment failed, please try again, right? So we can easily understand from this code itself that what it is doing, right? We can also see that what this value is storing by just using a breakpoint over here. And then you see that when I click on buy now, this value, the JavaScript code will be paused over here. And you see if you go down, it will show you what are the values. So you see currently there is nothing inside this t value. Why? Because we have added a breakpoint here, right? So currently there is nothing getting stored in this value. So what we can do is we can add a breakpoint over here as well. Okay, and now I'm just going to go to the next line, right? And now once we go to the next line, you will see that the value of the variable t, this value is now 12. Why this is 12? Again, because the price is 3 and the quantity value is, sorry, the price is 4 and the quantity value is 3. So 4 times 3 equals to 12. This is the value which is getting stored. And if you see over here, if I go on this line, then you will see the value of e will become a MD5 hash, right? Let's forward this again. And if we go here, you see that the value of e is now a hash value, right? And we can easily see that since it is using the a1 function, so what the a1 function was doing, it was just creating the hash of whatever value we're giving. And in this parameter, it has given the variable t, right? Which means that it is creating the hash value of the total price, which is 4 times 3 equals to 12, right? So we're getting the hash value of 12. So now we have understood two things. We have understood that it is using MD5. And the second thing that we have understood is that it is hashing out the amount variable, the amount value, the total amount, right? And then it is sending request to this pay endpoint, and the method is post, and then it is just sending the JSON data, right? So we have understood everything till now. I hope you are able to get it right. So if you have any doubts at any point, you can just let me know in the chat box, and then we can see that how we can resolve your issue. Yeah. And yeah, if you're seeing this video for the first time, then please go ahead and watch my previous video, right? So that you'll understand that what is going on. Now let me just close everything. And if I just click on buy now, you'll see that it says payment successful. Now we have understood that the algorithm is MD5, and then the value which is getting hashed is the total price, which is this $16, right? So let's try to, let me add just two value. I'm gonna add to cart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on buy now. So let's try to intercept the request. Okay, click on buy now. You see the amount is 8, right? Because 4 times 2 equals to 8, right? I'm going to send this to repeater, and then to just verify, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open MD5 online. Sorry, MD5 online. So we can also go to md5hashgenerator.com, and we can simply add the value. So you can see in the initially we have the amount as 8, right? Because we have added 2 quantity into the cards. 4 times 2 equals to 8. So we are going to give 8. Let's try to generate the hash. And you see this is the MD5 hash that we've got. Let's try to copy this, and I'm going to paste it right here. And you see the hash has been exactly matched, right? So this is actually using the amount value, and it is hashing the MD5 of the amount, right? So finally what we can do is we can just play with the parameters. So instead of 8, I'm going to just give 1. I'm going to click on generate. Then you'll see that we have this MD5 hash again. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it right over here, and I'm going to change the amount value now to 1, right? And if I send this request, you'll see that it is now saying successful, right? I'm just going to copy this hash again, and let's try to click on buy now, and I'm going to modify the hash, and I'm going to change the value to 1. And if I forward this, you will see that now it is saying that payment has been successful, right? So this is how you can read the minified JS code. So you need to have some knowledge of JavaScript so that you'll understand what is going between the front end and the back end, right? I hope you have understood that how we can read minified JavaScript code. Now another way of preventing the users or the attackers to read the code is by using obfuscating method, right? So the JavaScript obfuscation will basically make the code unreadable for any normal user, right? So we'll also see that how we can read the obfuscated code, or how we can predict that which hash could be used, because in JavaScript, if the code is obfuscated, then it will be very difficult for anyone to read the code, right? So we are going to see how we can do that as well, and then we are going to see some more ways of how we can abuse this particular functionality to basically get past the paywall, right? To bypass or to get the amount or the item for free, right? Let's try to see how we can do that in the upcoming videos. For this video, I hope that you have understood everything. If you have any doubts, if you have any issues, feel free to let me know your doubts or issues in the comment section. Also, do join our Telegram channel if you want to stay updated with the latest trends and technologies going into cybersecurity as well as web development. And if you like the way I teach, then don't forget to check out my courses related to reconnaissance, bug bounty, hacking Windows with Python, right? So the link of all of these courses are given in the description. And now with that being said, keep learning, keep hacking, and thank you so much for watching.